Okay, so take number 5. Hello everyone. This is an addendum to my translation and OCR video. OCR is an abbreviation which stands for optical character recognition, which is basically where you go into an image and try and pick out the characters. This was originally supposed to be a 2-minute video. However, due to my curiosity, I want to fully test out the functionality of this powerful OCR software, which is running on the Google's Vision API and Microsoft Translate API. I'll just really pull up the site so you guys can see it. The reason why I said take 5 is because I've been doing this a couple times due to the fact that Google's Vision API requires a quota when each time you query or give a request to the Google's Vision API, it sets a quota on how many times you can actually do it, and the site is kind of running low on how many times you can actually run the software, just because it is using Google's Vision API backend, and Google doesn't have infinite computing power, right? So I'll be posting the site and the link in the description below. And just a quick overview on what I'll be going through. I'll be translating Chinese manga, manhua as they call it, some Chinese blogs and screenshots of them, Japanese manga, Japanese screenshots, Chinese screenshots, and I'll also be testing to see if it has English to other language translation capacities. So without further ado, we'll go into the site. So if there is, the site will look like this: temporary unavailable due to exceeding available funding, trying to get about 2 hours. Although I find maybe waiting a little bit, maybe 10 minutes is fine. So I'm just going to run some of the other images that I have really quickly. So you can go to a manga. This is one of them. I really don't know what this is. Just copy the image address, obviously. And you can paste a link to the image. With that, will auto detect what language it is. And as you can see, it'll pull up the text boxes in whatever language that you find it in. And it's not super powerful. It doesn't detect all the languages, but as you can see, it can detect most. Now, what I usually like to do is I like to use the Google Translate extension to auto-translate the text boxes if you're just doing reading, which really helps for translating as well. But the way that the programmer designed it, you can also use the Microsoft Translator tabs to pull that up. Due to my video software, it doesn't show up entirely, but let's test it out. It'll look like that. When you press the Open Google Translator, press Open Google Translator again, and boom, there's another page with that thing. And then supposedly it says there's some of the text says don't join the lines as well. I don't know what that means, but yeah, it probably just means to split it up. And Google Translate also works, but I don't know why. It's the OBS is just not, which is my recording software, is not liking to display 2 results of Google Chrome. So we're just stuck with the Bing Translate for now. But I do assure you, it is popping up the Bing Translator thing. So that's really cool. So yeah, so that's one translation result. We'll translate really quickly. We'll translate really quickly. We'll translate really quickly just a basic Chinese image screenshot from my computer. I'm using a JFIF file, and as you can see, it can take JFIF files. This is on BAT companies, really powerful stuff. Again, same results. So it'll read these text. These are famous businessmen, and then it auto-translate that as well. Really, really, really cool. Move on to another image file. We'll do English to Chinese, English to other language translation. So we'll do English, and we'll maybe put it into Chinese, I guess. We're going to use an OEC. Oh, yeah, there we go. So the image translation is temporarily unavailable to exceeding available funding, trying to get about 2 hours. So we got the kill screen. That's the kill screen right there. I don't know why, but sometimes when you refresh it, you can get away with it. So this is the OECD. Something for economic control and development or something. It's a global organization. But let's see if we can get around it. So this is what I mean by getting around. Yeah, so if it's over 1,000 characters, it doesn't like it. But this is the OECD economic site, and it looks like it doesn't have English to other language translation capacity. But you can still pull it up on things. So that's a OCR recognition. Some really cool stuff right there. So obviously it doesn't work. let's try running an English graph. We'll go from English to, I guess, Russian. This is a graph from Statista. You can see there's the thing. Whoa, it auto-translate to Japanese for you on the site. Translated to English by Microsoft, and it'll auto-translate. So it does exist. I guess the Chinese one is not working as well. But as you can see, it's auto-translating to Russian right there. Really cool stuff. So yeah, it does have language translation capacities. Just pulling up some other screenshots. We'll pull 2 more screenshots that I have. One is a PNG of an Chinese advertisement. And the other is, oh no, that was a manga that I wanted to translate because I really enjoyed it, but due to the way it's set up, I couldn't. So yeah, there goes the Chinese to English translation, auto-translated for you right there. You can even use the Google Translate extension to do that for you. But really powerful stuff. It'll auto-detect screenshots. It'll auto-detect graphs, auto-translate for you. There's your Google Translation. I don't know why it's not working for Chinese. So we'll just really quickly do the OECD again. We'll do English back to Chinese and see if it works. Yeah, so over 1,000 characters. Yeah, it just doesn't like Chinese, or doesn't like that page. I was previously working with this Japanese manga. I just took a screenshot of it, and I pasted it into the OCR software, which means it'll be able to help you out with translating manga. And you can see the result quite clearly here. So it's currently processing right now, but this is the result that I got previously. Yeah, obviously I got hit the kill screen again. But that's just a random translation site. I just want to show you the result. That's that. And you can see the Bing the Microsoft Translator search results right there, which is really cool. It has various functions and whatnot. I'll Control 0 so it'll zoom up to its normal size. That's about its normal size. You can see the text. Sometimes you'll even encounter text where it says don't translate various lines together. So it'll translate it separately, which is really, really cool. The Google Translate function works, but due to OBS, it doesn't seem to like the Google pop-ups. So I can't display Google Translate, but I do assure you it works. And this is just a quick addendum onto the powerfulness of this OCR translation software. If it wasn't for the quota, it would work even better. But that's really, really, really cool. So there's a graphs that's being translated into Russian. There's the OECD, a graphic on businessmen that I've been working on, another manga in Japanese, obviously, because most people are doing it. And this is a manga, a famous manga I really like. The guy who wrote this wrote Kurokochi. And this is the Chinese version of manga that hasn't been translated on Manga Dex. And you can see it's translating the Chinese slash what is it called? It's not just Chinese, but it's also advanced traditional Chinese characters as well, because that's a traditional Chinese. But yeah, that's really, really, really cool. Run that through the translator, and it'll auto translate that into Chinese for you. Yeah, I don't know why some of this Bing stuff is not popping up. Oh, it's being hidden behind the screen. So that's your Bing translation results. That's your Google translation results. Right there. What's this one? Okay, so yeah, I don't know why, but sometimes the images aren't popping up properly on screen. So yeah, I'm just messing around with some OBS settings, and that's just showing you the various screens being popped up. Let's try the Google Translate one. There's your Google Translate pop-up finally working. So that's really, really, really cool. Obviously, it's all data. The data is stored locally. And so those are some of the images that I went through. Double OCR result on OECD. Advertising, graph, manga. And is there anything else I neglected to test out? I wasn't able to test out a screenshot of a website, but I'm pretty satisfied with that quick exploration of the thing, of the site. Maybe I'll make another addendum. But overall, I'm as a whole quite satisfied with this exploration of the site. It has pretty strong capacities, at least one-way translation from other languages to English. So Japanese is obviously fulfilled. It can do a little bit of English to foreign translation, but the main ones are English and Japanese, which is really cool. I bet you would work with Korean. So stuff like Naver, Munpia, Line. If you're doing that, if you're doing manga translation, that would be really helpful. And I could definitely see the software being used really well. I'll also be linking the original OCR post to the end of this video, so that'll be that. And yeah, that's mostly it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to show every single site that I wanted to. I'll probably keep this up just for reference. But yeah, I'm gonna see if I can make HTML documents and see if I could save this. But that's really cool. Yeah, so that's really cool how that turned out, and I'm really happy with how this video turned out. So yeah, thanks for watching. Take number 5, finally got it all the way through, and I'll be linking the original OCR video after this. Yeah, thanks for watching, you guys. Okay, so actually I'll pull it up real quick. So the time, actually I'll do a quick timestamp in video blank. Timestamp to here, and then just that'll make it easier for video editing. So finally, the connection timed out, and I can actually show you guys what this was. There's the 2-hour thing. This is the base link. We're then going to go into the photo that we pulled from it by doing the save images. You're going to paste the link here, or you can choose a file from your computer. Obviously, there's a quota, right? It's slowly translating the image, and this is why you're going to want the Google Translate extension, right? So obviously, the way that he programmed the API is that it can't exceed a count of 1,000. So you might want to have to chunk it up. But what OCR images do is it recognizes pages. And I acknowledge what this does and what this will do to certain sites. But, as I say, these tools exist out there. And if people want to use it, then people want to use it. I do apologize for making it more accessible. And I know, some people are angry at a specific guy for pulling up the cult. How do I put this without not exposing? Well, I mean, this is such an obscure YouTube video that it probably won't matter. And by that time, it'll be outdated anyway. But I'm talking about the blank video cult of music. And yeah, you definitely shouldn't mention it. It'll come up in your recommended. If you watched the specific video by Trash Taste, or you've heard of it, or you search it up on the YouTube site thing. I didn't report the video because I don't. I feel like that's not my thing. But if someone wants to show that, then that's their prerogative. But yeah, and I do apologize for making this tool more accessible. But as they say with the atomic bomb, the tools exist out there, and it's up for people to use them. Yeah, I enable more people and make them more accessible. But I feel like on the whole, I think the people that actually use this for good will probably come out will help me out in the karmic balance of stuff. Anyway, so back to Google Translate. Sorry for the heavy topics. Back to Google Translate. If you go to here, yeah, obviously it'll translate whatever you highlighted. But as you can see, there's the translate icon is missing because it doesn't recognize this. So these are all Chinese characters. You can press the Microsoft translator. You can use the built-in translator. But here's what I found, which is really useful. Translate this page, right? Look at this. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Boom. These text boxes are auto-translated for you. And you can read images, right? If you have an image, theoretically, this could work with Chinese manga. And what that means for because some people just want to read the raws and they can't read Jap, and obviously the site probably could even work with Japanese as well. So that really opens up a range of options for translation. But you can actually read Chinese images, provided that you actually have access to the photos, of course. But yeah, with that, I really use this only for reading web novels on certain sites that I won't mention or hesitate. And the reason why I'm on one with theirs because I did, and I admit to that. No, I don't admit to that. I admit to nothing. That was a misspeaking on my part. Probably cut this out. Yeah, no, I'll have to definitely cut. Okay. Well, I don't want to think too much about that. But yeah, I don't admit to anything. Frack. Okay. So yeah, so that's all the text, and you can actually read the translated text because of that Chrome extension, right? Because before you'd have to do it slowly one by one, and it got super annoying. But if you do want to translate text, make it a Google Doc or whatever, that's a very powerful tool to just get the English text. You highlight it, copy, paste, copy, paste. It's so powerful. I knew that translation was powerful because what it did is instead of enabling like just various people of the various language to use to share information and data, what it really allows is for people around the world, instead of like just allowing the only certain people of a certain language to communicate with certain people of a certain language, translation devices like these really allow for much more cross-cultural it closes cross-cultural barriers, and it really allows the 70 billion people around the world to communicate. Obviously, there's going to be more complications due to education, socioeconomic status, but translation really opens doors, right? Because if you look at the history of 1980s China and whatnot, okay, if you look at the history of 1980s China and whatnot, you'll find that a lot of those sites, a lot of one major factor in industrialization is you have to be able to read foreign texts, right? A lot of Chinese college level graduate students, professors, even like deans of the colleges and and just researchers themselves would read overseas documents. Even now in the U.S., we read German research and engineering documents, right? Because why? Because there's so many good there's so many good German mathematicians and German engineers that the Americans want to study from. We want to study, or even the British people want to study from as well. We want to study French agriculture and medicine because they're just so powerful. And so that's just some of the cool reasons why translation is just so powerful and why I really enjoy features like these. Yeah, and it's really cool on the API stuff as well. So yeah, that really covers that for this.